Namaskaram everyone and welcome back to the podcast. Today we have a very dear guest. We have Dr. Isha with us, who's a Hatha Yoga teacher, a homeopathy practitioner, and also a diet consultant. Namaskaram Akka and welcome to the podcast.
Namaskaram Anna. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Yes, first of all Akka, you have a name that all of us wish we had. How did you get this name?
Who gave me the name you're asking?
Yeah.
Anna, in Indian, like North Indian traditions, we have something like the Bua, which is like your father's sister. They name you when you're a child.
Oh, okay.
So it was my aunt who named me.
Okay, Akka. So before we go into the podcast, I would just like to tell the audience that, you will find this audio version of it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you just want to listen to the audio while driving or cooking, you can do that. And Akka, the basic idea of the podcast is I like to, I'm just trying to be the Ranveer Allahabadi at Isha, like basically take podcasts with meditators and Hatha Yoga teachers before the programs and, how their life just does. Because when we sit there, we just see you as a Hatha Yoga teacher, we see a lot of things. But I personally connect with teachers and meditators when they share something else about their life and, the struggles they have gone through. And it's a huge support for me personally, as well as other people, I feel. So that is the intention with this podcast, Akka. So shall we start with your permission?
Yes, Anna, sure. Definitely.
Yes.
It is good that you're doing something like this because people actually understand and learn a lot from other people's struggle.
Cool. So, Akka, could you tell us a bit about you, where you're from, about your childhood or wherever you are comfortable in starting? Before the spiritual seeking started, what you used to do, basically. The unmeditator Isha, we would like to know a little bit.
That'll be difficult for you to know because I am a very early meditator, like childhood meditator.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's the first. Please, then let's go for the childhood meditator only.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, I'm from Delhi. I belong to East Delhi, Lakshmi Nagar. I'm like my native place is Old Delhi. I'm a typical Delhi height because I have like 150 years old Delhi house.
Okay.
So
what does a typical Delhi look like? Just to give us a
Delhi
picture.
looks like a Purani Delhi ki chokri. So that kind of a girl. So I am basically from Delhi and I have had a very good childhood, like till let's see, I had a loving father, mother, good at studies, a young brother, so a lot of fun. But then I started with struggles very early in life. My dad expired suddenly when I was like 10 years old and my brother was 7, and there was a sudden incident in our life. So it was like morning he was playing with us, evening suddenly afternoon he's disappeared from our lives. It was that sudden. So that was like certain break in our life, and my mom fell ill, depression, she went into the hospital, a lot of things happened at that stage. But what happened is that took us towards the spiritual path. That took us deep towards the spiritual path. I was, I think, 11 years old or something. I did Vipassana 2.5 days of Vipassana course for children.
Okay. Could you talk a bit about that? How you came across it or something?
So basically, I have an aunt, my mother's sister. She was into spiritual path.
Okay.
So she was doing Vipassana. She had done a 10 days course. And my mom was depressed and everything. She was hospitalized. Doctors couldn't diagnose what was happening to her. And because of that, me and my brother got impacted. So that time, though we were not like physically seen as impacted, but we had become silent suddenly as children. So that's when our parents, like my mom and my aunt, I even call her parent because she took care of us for a certain period of time. So she sent us to Vipassana for 2.5 days children program. So they didn't do much, but it actually impacted your life because suddenly we started opening up a little bit more again. We started playing again. So those things came up. And it was like normal, simple things, breath watching.
I have heard of Vipassana for adults, but I've never heard of Vipassana for kids.
Yes, that's something very rare. That's something very rare, because even if I speak to people who have been doing Vipassana, they don't know it's for children as well. But there's a 2.5 days course for children. After that, we got into Isha. So my aunt only got into Isha. She got in touch with Sadhguru, and I was 14 years old when I did my inner engineering.
Wait, Akka. She got in touch with Sadhguru, so Sadhguru was easily accessible then? That's a big question. Many people.
I remember we have photograph at a house, which is like self-clicked, normal, that digital camera we used to come, no? Wherein you click photos, you get that camera reel, and then you develop those reels and get pictures. So we have those photographs directly clicked.
Yep. With Sadhguru?
With Sadhguru.
Okay. Now in the podcast, I'll have to put it if you can give me.
No, I'll have to search then, because we put all the photographs together at certain places.
Okay.
So I'll have to search and send it to you then. No, I don't have my personal photograph, but she's clicked, because when I did inner engineering, we were like 7 people doing inner engineering. There was such a small group, and those 7 people included me and one of my cousin. We both did it. So apart from us, there were 5 people. And it was in Noida somewhere. Yeah, Noida, we did it. So it was quite early. Isha had just started making an appearance in public. People started knowing them. And Delhi was not much of a place where Isha was there. That time, my aunt used to do a lot of marketing for Isha. They used to distribute pamphlets, get people to come for classes. All those things used to happen. So that is the time she took us for inner engineering. I was 14 years. I think that was the youngest age we could do.
What year was it, Akka?
14, huh?
Which year was it? Like 2000, 1990?
2004, I guess. Yeah. So that's when I did my inner engineering. So after that, I've been continuing with my practices. Though honestly speaking, I was never very much completely into the practice. I was not a very regular person into the practice, because that was the time I was getting into college, medical, night shift. So we had night duties in hospitals for internships. So that is because of those schedules and the excitement of college. I never was regular with it, but I never left it also completely. I was on and off with the practices. So those things actually helped me cope up with certain things in life as they were going on, because there are other struggles in life as you grow naturally. So those things helped me cope up with those things. So I never could leave it completely, but I was never fully into it also. But then after my graduation, I got married, then I got separated. And there are certain things which happened in the marriage. So because of that, there was a sudden downfall in my life. And after that downfall, again, my aunt came into the picture, and she made me do Shunya program and the Hatha Yoga program.
Oh, okay.
So though I was always doing Hatha Yoga in my life, like since childhood, I remember in school we were taught, and we were taught literal the proper Surya Shakti, Surya Namaskar practices, proper the 21 asanas, everything we were taught in school. So I was very, very flexible. Since childhood, I was very flexible. It was like no asana, I don't remember any asana that I couldn't do at that age. So I was very good into it. Plus, my aunt was a Shivananda teacher as well. So she also taught us.
Okay.
So since childhood, we were doing yoga. But when I did it in 2018, the yoga asanas and Surya Kriya class together. Like morning, I used to go for one workshop, go to my office, continue with my work for the day, and then in between I would leave, do another workshop, then come back to the office, continue with my work, and then come back home. That was how I did my workshops.
Okay.
But I remember last day of yoga asanas, I cried, literally cried at the end of the workshop. Though initially when I started with the workshop, I was like, I used to come home and tell mom, this is very boring. I don't think I can complete it. But by the end, I cried in the workshop. I came back home and I told mom, this is something else. This is literally something else. It transforms you within. Then that's when I applied for Samyama. So I was very regular with my practices. Very means not a day, not a moment that I would miss it. Even if I'm in the office, I'll make sure I'm doing my shunya. Make sure I'll keep my time gap for doing my practices in the evening and in the morning. So I was very particular and very conscious of keeping up my practices. Slowly it started coming up on my face. Everyone around me started noticing it. And it was so clear that suddenly a depressed person, like I was in a very bad depression because of the marriage, whatever happened. Suddenly I was becoming very bright. The face was changing. In fact, the wala face was becoming happy kind of a face. So those things were very visible and people started noticing it as well. So Samyama again was a very big turning point in my life, because I don't know, somehow Samyama transformed a lot of things in me. So I cannot express that in words, because Samyama experience, I don't think it's possible to explain it in words for me. I was so much into all my sadhana, all my everything, that during Samyama I was completely engrossed in whatever was being done there. There was not a moment that I was out of it. So that's why it was a very good experience for me, and I kept up with the practices. I remember after Samyama, I used to go to Bangla Sahib to do my Samyama practices so that I can do it peacefully. 40 days I did my mandala. Bangla Sahib is a Gurudwara, very famous Gurudwara in Delhi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you check out Bangla Sahib, it's like one of the well-known Gurudwaras. Like Amritsar, there's Golden Temple, then there is Delhi, Bangla Sahib. That's a very famous Gurudwara. Okay. So I used to go 40 days to the Gurudwara to do my practices of Samyama.
Okay.
I did my mandala like that.
Okay.
So that's how I kept up with my practices, and it has created wonders. Honestly speaking, even if someone asks me or sees me, whoever has known me over a period of time, have seen whatever I've gone through, they would actually say, how are you so happy? How are you even coping up? I've seen people in, like, since when you go through this phase, you tend to meet people of similar things, going through similar things, and they would be really depressed. I think they've forgotten how to smile or take things as life puts on to them. But I was able to take it, and I was able to take it very lightly, and they were very surprised about it. So these practices have actually transformed me a lot. That's how I feel like giving it out to people.
Awesome, Akka.
So that's how it happened in my life. It's a weird, it's like a roller coaster ride for me, but it's been a good one.
So is it after the Samyama that you decided to go for Hatha Yoga teacher training?
Yeah. So I did March Samyama, and the next after Samyama only I applied for teacher training. So that year only I did teacher training. That is 2019 March I did Samyama, 2019 I did my teacher training.
How was the teacher training, and could you talk, whatever is possible to share, could you talk for, aspiring people who want to do, there are a lot of people who want to do Hatha Yoga teacher training, but could you tell about what one person should consider before going for it, and how much feasible it is, like what are the both sides of it, in your own way, what you faced?
And a teacher training is again one of a very transformational program. If you go through it completely, getting involved into the program, it's very intense. You have to really keep up with the program. It's you'll get a lot of knowledge about various subjects. So whoever's willing to transform other people's life should go for the teacher training program, definitely. And even for your own self, if you really wish to see a certain experience certain things in your life, very transformational things, then teacher training is a very good thing. Like for me personally, I'm not speaking about other people, they might have their own experiences, but for me it was very nice. So teacher training does not only focus on yoga, it focuses on many other aspects. You even get knowledge about food. You even get knowledge about other aspects of yoga. Sadhguru's talks, though you have a lot of them on YouTube, but during the teacher training you learn a lot of more things. Plus you get a second family. Hatha Yoga teachers is a second different family that you get, wherein you can get in touch for any troubles or for any assistance that you need after passing out from the teacher training program. So that's one thing. Some people have thoughts whether they should go for it or not, but if you're actually willing to get this, because this yoga is very different from the normal yoga which is being taught across. Okay, and this I'm not saying because Sadhguru says it or because someone else says it. This I'm saying from a personal experience. I'm not someone who's not done anything else. I've done anything and everything in yoga since childhood. I was 7 years old since when I started yoga. So I've seen a lot of phases, but this yoga is not only for the physical benefits, it changes you completely, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It changes a lot of things within you. So if you are willing to give it to people, then you should definitely go for it.
Any such specific incident that happened during the training that you still remember, or something that transformed you there? Something simple, it's not really big or something. Anything that is there, or it was just you went through the program?
No, actually, I wouldn't say major things, but small things. The way you talk. I am a very silent person, but right now I think I'm speaking too much. So I'm a very silent person. And if I answer, there was the way I've gone through life, there were certain rough patches which got into my personality. So I would be very rude at times. I would be very abrupt with my answers, and there would be times I was very rough in my speech. This is a very minor thing if you go to see, because if you're silent, you don't actually speak a lot of things, and suddenly you'll be very rough.
Right.
Even this thing was something which came into my notice during the training, and it actually changed.
Right.
It actually changed within that period, 6 months period. And the way you have to talk, the way you have to speak to participants, the way you present yourself, those things came into being within me. So this is for others, it might not be something very big a change, but if you see within yourself, that's a very big thing.
No,
so
it's always it's always the minor or the small things that actually, I see that touch other people. Like I was sitting in the restaurant one day. Before eating the food, I waited for 2 minutes. By that time, my friend had almost gobbled up. So he was like, "Why are you waiting?" So I told him, "I'm just seeing if I can build a certain awareness." So it's like, "Wow, that's. I should also try to do that." So it's always, and maybe there are a lot of people who are struggling with this small thing and they do not understand what to do.
Exactly.
So it's always the small things.
Yeah, those things happen. I remember when I came back from the teacher training, and there was a family function which was there. So people had seen me before the teacher training, and people suddenly saw me after 6 months. And like entire family, I'm talking about 50-60 people there. Okay, they were like, Isha, what has happened to you? And they earlier, those who were telling my mom not to send me there, they was like, this was the best decision you took for her.
Right, beautiful. So then, after coming from there, how did you decide to teach? How was your first class? And
so as I already said, I always wanted to teach. That was the only reason I went for teacher training. So after I came back, I actually took a class for my brother's to-be wife and her siblings. So I got them and I took a class. There was an empty room in the house. So I put a white sheet on the ground, put Sadhguru's photograph on a plastic table. I put some covered it with white cloth, put Sadhguru's photograph. Like it's a small setup that I made of my own, and I took the class. So initially it was a struggle because I was very nervous, and if I send you the pictures, I'll be like this in the pictures. So I was that nervous in the pictures. So it was difficult. It was nervous. There was a lot of nervousness, but it went with the flow because we were trained in that way. During the class, no one noticed that I was nervous. It is only in the pictures after the class which were taken that you could see that I was nervous. Otherwise, during the class, everyone was like, it was nice. It was really nice. And after that, I got some I wouldn't say opportunities. Basically, I got some opportunities to take class for home sessions. So I traveled across Delhi to different places and took some classes. So that was also a certain different experiences, because we've never taken classes like traveling. It was my first time taking sessions for certain practices, and I got that opportunity to travel and establish someone else's house, so that you create that ambience for the class.
Yeah.
So that's also a different experience altogether. So that's when I started taking the outside classes, the home sessions.
How does that work? What are the hardships you face? Like, let's say you have to go to another place. How do you manage that?
So, see, first things is how far is it?
Right.
As a girl, being in Delhi, safety is one issue which you always face. Right. So I had to go in the morning, like 6 o'clock we planned the class, for example, and I have to leave from my place very early. Right. So that was one hardship which I had to face. So there were initial days my brother used to leave me to that place and come back, because the safety issue, to see how the way is, if it's safe or not. So initially he used to leave me, and then I used to take the class. The other things which was like, see, everyone's house doesn't have a specific space. Right. You'll have to create that space for the class. There has to be definite amount of space for the people to do yoga, for creating that ambience so that no one disturbs it during the class. Those things are there. So those setups need to be taken care of whenever you go for home sessions. So like, you have to check beforehand, go a little more earlier than you would do at your own place, because you have to set up, you have to see, you have to arrange certain things, plus the things you have to carry also increase, because at home you have those things at your own place, right? But then when you're going to someone else's house, you need certain more things. So those things are there. Apart from that, people should remain in that state that they are continuously in the class. That's also one factor which I noticed, because certain times they would listen to the bell ringing. They would be like, the milkman has come, okay, I have to go. You have to explain it to them beforehand, that you don't leave the class in between. Make arrangements for it. Those things are very small factors and things which come up, so which need to be taken care of from the beginning.
Awesome. So right now, Akka, like, are you conducting this kind of sessions, or it's more at your home, or you have a studio? How is it?
No, now I've started my own studio.
Oh,
so
okay.
After that, COVID came.
Okay.
So we had to shut down everything. But that is when the school came up with the online sessions thing. And that was a very great opportunity that we got, so that we could get in touch with more and more people. And like Simha Kriya, Sadhguru had introduced at that time. And that helped a lot of people. I remember during COVID, me being a doctor, at certain times people used to ask me what is to be done, what is not to be done. And I used to give medicines and all also, because homeopathic medicines also certain people were preferring. Right. So we used to give medicines also. And then knowing that I'm a teacher, yoga teacher, they would ask me what to do. And that's when I gave them Simha Kriya. At my house, I taught everyone Simha Kriya. So I remember when I got COVID, or my mom got COVID, we didn't have many major symptoms or major complication. My mom being a multiple autoimmune disease patient, heart patient, and other diseases, her lung capacity is also very low. But still, she sailed through that period with quite ease, even though she got COVID.
Right.
That's because she was introduced into Simha Kriya. She has been doing Shambhavi and other practices regularly. So Simha Kriya is a very good practice, and I started teaching that during that period for building immunity and all those things. So those things, those factors helped us during the COVID period, because the school gave us the permission to teach those things. After that, I started with my studio.
Okay.
So I started a health studio, wherein I have my clinic, and behind my clinic there's a whole hall which I have for classes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I remember the first query I got was for Shanmukhi Mudra. That time I was not
Isn't that the
certified
beautifying? Isn't that the beautifying Kriya?
Yes,
Isn't that the
it
one
is.
It is.
Yes, it is. It is for the glow of the face.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first query I got was for Shanmukhi Mudra, but that time I was not certified for it. And it is something very nice that the teachers are so supportive with you, or whoever new teacher comes, or whoever needs support, that I got another teacher who had been certified, and they came and took the class, though it was very far for them, but they still came and took the class for me. So that's how I started with my studio. Then slowly other people started coming, other opportunities came up, so things developed. Since I was a doctor, if patients came, I could have them directed towards the clinic thing. Not directed towards the yoga thing, but they needed yoga.
Right.
There are many people who need yoga in their life. So I could actually get them into doing yoga. So that's how the whole thing started. Then I started taking classes outside as well. So I took a certain session at Surat. I took sessions at Indore. So I've been taking classes at different places. I started I took some sessions at the studio and started telling people to have guided sessions. So started some regular sessions for them. It lasted for a certain period. Then for certain reasons I had to put it off, but we did that also. So then I got Sannidhi. Sannidhi actually changed the ambience.
Talk a little bit about that.
About?
Please talk a little bit about Sannidhi. There's very less videos about Sannidhi, and that's why.
Oh. So I got Sannidhi in 2021.
Can you tell what a Sannidhi is for people who don't know first?
Sannidhi is a consecrated, and I don't know the name. What do we call it?
I think Sadhguru Sannidhi. Sadhguru Sannidhi.
Yeah, it's Sadhguru Sannidhi. It's a consecrated Sadhguru Sannidhi. It's like footprints of Sadhguru, basically. So having a consecrated Sannidhi at home, or any consecrated, what would you call it?
Yantra?
Any yantra, yeah, any consecrated yantra or object at home creates a different ambience, creates a different environment altogether. Like my brother runs a factory, like a business for electronic wires, and his clients and all used to come because it was like kind of a minor lockdown in 21 also in Delhi at certain times. So some people used to come at home. So there was one uncle who had come, and as soon as he entered the door, he was like, "Is there something at your house? It's so peaceful." And I'm like, I was sitting in my clinic and doing some work at that time, and I heard it, and my brother was like, "Yeah, Didi got a Sannidhi at home."
Oh,
so it creates that impact. It creates that impact, and it's very peaceful. If I do practices, like my studio is on the ground floor of my house, and my house is on the first floor. So if I do my practices on the first floor or on the terrace, but if I do it at the studio, it's a completely different experience. Even if you sit for meditation at that place, you feel a lot of difference. There are teachers who've taken sessions at my studio. They say, "Akka, you've developed the place very well." And then I say, "It's not me, it's him." It's just a Sannidhi which has changed the ambience of the place. So Sannidhi is something you have to be very regular with. It's like you're getting Sadhguru home. Honestly speaking, it's like that. It's like you're getting Sadhguru home. Then you have to take care of it also that way. You have to remember to take care of it also that way. But I'm glad I got it. I'm really glad I got it.
Beautiful. So could you talk a little bit more about your Homeo practice and why you decided to choose Homeo, and what kind of services you're providing at your clinic for people and online also?
Okay. So, since childhood, I have been taking homeopathic medicine. Reason being, I'm not very good with allopathic medicine. My stomach is a little sensitive and I get a lot of disturbances. So, my mom has always taken us for Ayurvedic or homeopathic medicine. Ayurvedic medicine I used to take, and they're definitely effective. Allopathy is also effective. Every medicine field has their own pros and cons. I'm not trying to lower down the
degrade one
importance,
and saying better.
degrade one aspect of any medicinal field, but I'm talking about my personal thing. So I used to take Ayurvedic also and homeopathic also. In emergencies, I still take allopathy also. But Ayurveda, there are too many medicines and I couldn't take it. Being a child, I was very fussy on taking medicines. So homeopathy, the best thing for me. Sweet pills and you're happy with it.
Yes.
And it worked wonders on me. So that's why I was very into homeopathy since childhood. And after my dad's death, I was very much into the medical field. I really wanted to be a doctor. It was completely deep rooted within me. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. So though after 12th standard, I got into engineering college. I got into the Delhi University Music School. I got into architect. But
okay.
I chose women.
Okay.
So I did my graduation from Goa University. It's a 5.5 years full graduation program. So you get a training in allopathic hospitals also, and there we had a homeopathic hospital also, so we were trained there as well. Plus there were theory sessions. So we had a lot of practical and theoretical experiences during the training. So I completed my graduation in 2012. After that, I started working in a charitable dispensary. And I would tell you one experience that I had was husband and wife, they both had cold, flu symptoms when the season changes. So the husband was not in favor of homeopathy, he took allopathic medication, and the wife came to me. Just after 2 doses, that is the next day, she came again and she said, I'm much better, 80% I'm better. And the husband was still in that stage.
Right.
So he came with his wife 2 days later because his condition was not improving and he took the medicine. So for people who say homeopathy acts slow, this is one example I always give it to them, that just in 2 doses they improve. So it's not that homeopathy acts slow, it is how deep rooted the disease is. So you have to see where the disease condition is, where the patient is, and then accordingly the medicine acts depending on the patient. So now after that, after I was working in the charitable dispensary, I started my own clinic after a certain period of time. At the same time, I was an editor of the homeopathic medical books, which were the medical books for the students who were in the college. So I was the chief editor there. I was working in a publishing house as well. So I was getting in touch with books also, and I was having my own clinic also. So that's how I kept on with my practice regularly. Then due to certain circumstances at my place, like marriage and all those rubbish, whatever happened, I had to leave my practice for a certain period of time. But then after I had finished my teacher training, I knew I wanted to do this. So that's why I started with my clinic and the studio. So the whole concept which came into my mind when I started both the things were that when I was working in the charitable, when I was working in my own clinic, I noticed that people are not only treated with medicines, they need certain sustaining things. They need to change their lifestyles. They need yoga in their life for a permanent cure, for a settled life. So shifting people from a medicinal based ideology, like people on diabetes are continuously on diabetic medications, people on thyroid are continuously on thyroid medications. It is best that you start taking out time to do yoga in your life and come to a stage wherein you don't get these diseases. If you keep yoga as a part of your life, you would see that you don't develop those diseases over a period of time. And even if you start developing it, you don't reach to a stage where you are medicine dependent.
Right.
Because you're not keeping up with your lifestyles, it is because of that you're reaching into that stage. So people need to make yoga a part of their life and see within yourself how it transforms you. So that's why I started with both the things together. So whenever you need medication, yes, you should go for medication. But at the same time, you need to remember that diet and yoga has to be a part of your life for sustainable impacts of a healthy life in future. Even as you grow old, you would see that the body is not so damaged that you're not able to get out of the bed. So that was the whole aim of starting the holistic health studio.
Right. Awesome. So how open are people? Let's say someone is coming for your clinic to get Homeo medicine. How open are they to yoga, and vice versa? If they're coming for yoga, how open are they to try Homeo if you suggest them? What do you think?
Not necessarily both the sides, they're open. But if you talk them into it, they yes, they get open towards it. At least take a first step towards it. And honestly, I've had patients over this period of time. Like it's been an year, like 2023 or 21 end, I started properly with my health studio. So it's been an year, and over a period of time, I not only give medicines in Delhi, but I even do online consultations. So what I do is I take online video consultations and I courier the medicines to people. So I don't have patients in Delhi also. I have them in Pondicherry. I have them in Gujarat, Surat. I have them in Indore. I have them in Jammu Kashmir. So I have them at various places also. So there are people, if you see my Instagram page, I've even shared the videos or experiences of people. I got them into learning certain Hatha Yoga practices or certain other Jalniti kind of practices, and gave them medications, and it has created wonders. It has literally created wonders. Like I remember, I have a patient who complained of rhinitis and cold symptoms. Like it was over the year he would have those symptoms, and with Jalniti and the medication, after certain period of time, right now he doesn't need the medication. It's been 3 months since he last came to me, and I just spoke to him yesterday, and he's like, Akka, I didn't get any cold symptoms, even though there's certain flu which is going on in Delhi with all the cough and everything, and season changes there, and he was like, Akka, I'm fine. So these things help. There are people, I've got them into doing yoga namaskar and gave them medication, so their backache improved.
Right.
So depends on person to person. You have to see what practices they need, but a combination definitely helps more than the medication alone.
Awesome, Akka. So how do people contact you? Like, is it through Instagram, or is there some Google Map link which I can share in the description?
So we have both.
For your homeopathy consultant? Okay.
Both. So they can contact me through Instagram. My Instagram page is Yogaras by Dr. Isha. And even I have my Google Maps link, which is the Yogaras, the Holistic Health Studio. And I've even started on the website. It's active now, though it's not fully functional, but it's active now, which is Yogaras at the yogaras.com.
Okay. Awesome, Akka. So, yeah, Akka, like, I'm out of questions, to be honest. So anything else that you would like to share with people about yoga, or something from your personal experience before we end the podcast, or anything else?
Not necessarily, and I don't have anything personally to share, but there's one thing I would like to tell everyone, that they have to see where they're taking their lives. In today's life, personally, I've seen people becoming they have a lot of sedentary lifestyle and a lot of junk food diet that they're taking. This being a medical professional, so I wouldn't lose this opportunity to tell people, please leave that. take certain steps towards your health. Otherwise, in the future, it's not just you who suffer, it's your family as well. That impact is there. So make yoga a part of your life, change your diet, take tips on how to have a healthy diet. I'm not saying you completely miss out on burgers, but burgers can be made at home. Make a healthier version of it. I'm not saying miss out on pizzas, but pizzas have a healthier version at home.
Right.
So add those things, change certain minor things, increase more raw food, increase more salads, fruits. They're yum. They're
Do
literally
you make
yum.
burgers and pizza at home? Do you make burgers and pizza at home?
I do, and I love them.
God, right.
I do, and I
just
love
getting
them.
there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I make a wheat base for the pizza, and I add a lot of vegetables to it.
Please share the recipe
And
on your page also.
I'll do one day. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Even my burger has a lot of vegetables, honestly.
Okay.
So I do make them, but I do avoid eating them outside. So those things can be incorporated in your daily life. Yoga is something that should be a part of your life. That would transform you not only physically. Not only physically you'll be healthy, but even mentally, emotionally, you would see a lot of change within yourself. Your productivity would increase a lot. Your stress levels would reduce a lot. Anxiety, which is very common these days, very common, that actually is something which changes. Depression, I think Anna, you will be the best suited person to speak about it. So that is actually completely gone. I have also experienced it going. So these things impact a lot of things. So yoga should be a part of your life. Diet changes should be there, and you would see that you are enjoying life more. But if you need medication, that is at most necessary in times of need, but not always. Don't make it a part of your life. Make it a medicine. Medicine is only when it is needed. Let it be like that. Don't make it, instead of, people are there who would actually eat more medicines than food. They're gulping around 10-12 tablets in the morning and then going for the food. Please don't do that. Please don't reach to that stage. It is very important that you keep it as an emergency protocol because it is needed. That's why you're taking it. But on a regular basis, have a healthy life.
Thank you, Akka. Thank you so much for this podcast. I'm sure the viewers would definitely like to reach out to you. So please reach out to Akka on our Instagram page, which I'll link in the description. So thank you, Akka. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.